first question I have is throughout history, right? Key figures like Bélair and Cécile have been overlooked in discussions about the Haitian Revolution, right? Why do you think their contributions remain largely absent from mainstream narratives?
I think because we live in the Western world where male dominance is the protocol when it comes to talking about history. We never see the women that help to create the man and even assist that man in making the history. We only see the man in history. And I think we as African people unconsciously follow that same white methodology, that same white narrative, that same white information modeling. And so when you mentioned them to me before, I said, oh, there must be a book. I know I got a book on that. And then I found Heroes of the Haitian Revolution, written by Baina Bello. And this is a fantastic book, Heroes of the Haitian Revolution, written by Baina Bello. And she covers all of them. I mean, not all of them. You know, there were so many fantastic women in Haitian history. But she looks at all of the main characters because we never think, when we think of Pokemon, the alligator swamp, where that revolution was ticked off, we think of the brother from Jamaica. We think of, what's his name? Bookman. And that's what we're told, that this is what Bookman had the prayer, but it wasn't Bookman that was leading that. It was the women. The women was given the responsibility to the men. But this was Cécile Fatima. This was, it was a number of the women, because they made up that kind of, and it's very African, because in Africa, we give men the credit. So here the sister got a whole chapter on Cécile Fatima, right? And I hope people could see it. And it's nice. And she deals with some of the other women who was at that ceremony that night, because it would be the women who's, this is Kasiski, Anacona, and it is the women who are the priestess. These are the mambos of voodoo. And these would be the people who would be leading that ceremony that night. And the deity, the Loa, that was the major Loa. We always think Ogun, but it wasn't Ogun. It was Ezele Danto. Ezele Danto is the force that guides the Haitian Revolution, not Ogun. It is Ezele Danto that is the force that initiates the revolution. And so, and that's a female Loa. And of course, she has Toya. And Toya is the mother of the sister who raised Jean-Jacques Dessalines. And I'll show you one more. And this book everyone should get. This sister, Sanité Bélair. You talking about a revolutionary soldier that put something on the French? That's one of the ladies. So get this book, Heroes of the Haitian Revolution, by Baina Bello. And it'll answer a lot of that question, much more than I can, other than to realize that we tend to follow the European narrative when we talk about history, and we tend to play the male gender as the primary element rather than looking at the female gender, which may be both primary and foundational.
And you know what's wild, man, how even though you may be a Pan-African or a Black conscious person, how European concepts influence your research.
Absolutely.
We'll have like Queen Nyabingi, for instance, right? Who's a prime example of a female leader. But for whatever reason, when people write about certain things that take place, they just, I don't know if it's because they don't want to accept it or it's purposely done, but they leave out the women, especially when they're leading Black.
Right. It's when we look at Ghana, for instance, and we talk about Yah Asantewaa, people act like that's an anomaly. Yet every king of the Asante nation is chosen by the Queen Mothers, not by the men. They present the new king to the men. The men's job is to enthrone them, But the choice of king is made by the women, the queen mother. So, Santiwa being the queen mother, but Yisu would be one of the persons who would choose the Santa Hene, the king of the Ashanti nation. And so she wasn't an ordinary person. She was one of the extraordinary persons that was normally in that extraordinary place. So that when the stool, the leader of the stool, the male, fell, it was her duty as the queen mother to lead the nation. That's the way it's structured. But people don't know how African culture works. And they think she was some anomaly, just some extraordinary thing that happened only once in history. If she was not there, another queen mother would have done that.
With your understanding of African culture, right? Did they observe that intuition women have, and is that why they put them in positions of leadership?
In African culture, it is understood that women is the beginning of humanity. That's a part of the cultural understanding. That when the universe first decided to be human, if someone to put it in the context, but God decided to be a human, it was an African woman. And everything proceeds from her. And so that is her position in the culture. She is the mother. The baby for 9 months is in her belly. You trace the lineage through the mother, not through the man. European culture traced the lineage through the male. And some African Islamic culture, which is not African culture, traced the patrilineal line. But in African culture, it's matrilineal, matrifocal. The line is traced through the woman. The woman is the blood that makes the child. And so she has a higher place in society than male. Okay? And so you'll see this going all the way back to ancient Kemet. Heru may be the son of Asar or of Ra, but he nestles at the breast of Aset. And he sits on Aset's lap because Aset is the throne of the earth. And he's allowed to sit on the throne that is the black woman. So there's a lot in the culture, nuances people need to understand. And then you will understand that you don't have a Haitian Revolution without the women. There's no Toussaint without the women. There's no Dessalines without the women. There's no Haitian Revolution without the women. Matter of fact, it was the women and the children that was the vanguard of the Haitian Revolution. I mean, you really need to study Jacob Carruthers' book, The Irritated Genie, any of the works by Baina Bello, where she points this out, the role of the women in the revolution.